Yeah, I was gonna say. We'll have you weeping and wailing in that too.
So much property district. That's what yeah, you know, I'm not now, but I'm voting rights act.
I was waiting for that. Do we, you want to take this back? He's not gonna be here, or you don't leave that?
Okay. The whole area. Oh, I know.
But man, we
It's all right.
because I would come in with these contiguous districts that made sense. What we ended up with was almost always something very, 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 very different.
I want to remind y'all, if y'all want to sign up to talk tonight, public speaking, you need to sign in over at the table there, or just sign in.
I'm gonna just slow down. It's really about the district. Houston Independent School District. How I got
No.
Well, I was up in Jersey. I lived actually in Spring Branch, so I was at right.
Oh, yeah. I'll turn mine off.
A lot of good dining options in that part of the world. Excuse me.
Are we waiting for Jason?
He's not coming.
He's over here.
I do. Mayor, he was the mayor of Sugar. He was also the developer.
Wow.
No, I use that. Yeah.
Share. Share.
Steve was trying to put in some student housing. And Steve, I'll have to tell you about that someday. They would.
You can't do it?
Well, he did. He was pretty proud. He was upset. He had some money. Still had some houses. He didn't sit that thing.
I've already had after
We usually start meeting.
What if that's a security?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this evening. Thank you, Father, for this beautiful fall day that you set before us. And Father, we thank you for the rain that you sent us last Sunday. It was a blessing, and the Sunday before that. Thank you, Father, for all these gifts and for all the people that have come out this evening. We pray, Father, that you would guide and direct us as we consider the city's agenda. May you give us the wisdom and discernment as we consider the city's budget for 2026, Father, and we thank you that we've been able to manage the budget for 2025 and get to the end of the year and still have a little bit of money left, Father. For all these blessings, we give you thanks and praise in Jesus' name.
Amen. We'll call our meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. We'll do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the flag, I pledge allegiance to the Constitution, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Right. Good evening, everybody. Okay. Tonight, we're going to do our reports, our presentations, and proclamations. So to start off, we'll do 2A. We're going to do a presentation of a proclamation of recognition of Constitution Day to the daughters of the American Revolution. 2B, presentation of a proclamation of recognition of Hunger Action Month to provisions. A 2535 outreach. Presentation of a proclamation of recognition of National Night Out to the Bulverde Police Department. Recognition of Development Coordinator Claudia Cardenas for 5 years of service. City of Bulverde Police Department summary, Finance Department, Public Works Department summary, Planning Department summary, and Parks and Recreation and Planning and Zoning report. So we'll start off with 2A. So presentation of a proclamation of recognition of Constitution Day to the daughters of the American Revolution. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government and a republic dedicated to rule by law, and whereas September 17, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Helen Hayes, Mayor of the City of Bulverde, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties. I proclaim this 9th day of September, 2025. Okay. 2B, presentation of a proclamation in recognition of Hunger Action Month provisions. A 2535 outreach. Proclamation. Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of vital concern in Texas, where 1 in 6 households struggle with food insecurity and 1 in 5 children face hunger. And whereas Provisions Outreach, the food pantry in Bulverde, and its partners throughout the region are committed to taking steps to combat hunger in their communities, as well as provide resources for those they serve. And whereas Provisions, along with the San Antonio Food Bank and all other Comal County food banks and pantries, are committed to fighting hunger and feeding hope in conjunction with Feeding America, highlighting the role of food pantries and food banks in addressing hunger and raising awareness of the need to devote more resources to hunger issues to help vulnerable food insecure populations like kids and seniors. And whereas Provision serves approximately 2,000 individuals per month from Comal and surrounding counties, and the San Antonio Food Bank currently assists approximately 105,000 individuals per week throughout 29 counties in the Southwest Texas area. And whereas the month of September has been designated Hunger Action Month to bring attention to food insecurity in our communities and to engage the public in action, including volunteerism, advocacy in the business community, churches and social circles, social media shares, and donations of funds and products. Now therefore, I, Helen Hayes, Mayor of the City of Bulverde, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim September 2025 as Hunger Action Month in the City of Bulverde and urge all citizens to join in the efforts to eliminate food insecurity and hunger in our region of the Hill Country. Proclaim this 9th day of September 2025.
Dueling campers.
Okay, thank you. To C, presentation of a proclamation in recognition of National Night Out to the Bulverde Police Department. Proclamation, whereas the National Association of Town Watch, NATW, is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on October 7th, 2025, entitled National Night Out. And whereas the 42nd Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for Bulverde, Texas, to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. And whereas the City of Bulverde plays a vital role in assisting the Bulverde Police Department through joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in Bulverde, and is supportive of National Night Out 2025 locally, and whereas it is essential that all citizens of Bulverde be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Bulverde. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program. Now therefore, I, Helen Hayes, Mayor of the City of Bulverde, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 as National Night Out in the City of Bulverde, and hereby call upon all citizens of Bulverde to join the Bulverde Police Department and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting the 42nd Annual National Night Out on October 7th, 2025. Proclaim this 9th day of September, 2025. To D, recognition of Development Coordinator Claudia Cardenas for 5 years of service to the City of Bulverde. The City of Bulverde proudly recognizes Claudia Cardenas for 5 years of distinguished service, dedication, and loyalty to the City of Bulverde. Presented with gratitude by the City Council of Bulverde 2025.
And the champagne.
All right. So moving on to our department reports, police department.
Mayor, council, good evening.
Good evening.
We'll get August monthly report. In the month of August, the Bulwark Police Department responded to 1,131 calls for service. Arrests were down a little bit. We only had 7 arrests in the city of Woodbury. I'd hope that that's because the bad guys are going around Woodbury. Maybe I'll bank on that. 16 crashes that we actually investigated and submitted a report to the state. Average speed citation over limit on Highway 21, 22.6, on Highway 46, 20.3. Everywhere else in the city, 19.4 miles an hour average over the speed limit. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any comments, questions, concerns about the report or anything else.
I had a question, actually. I came back from vacation and found a card on the door of my business saying, hey, we stopped by at 3:25 in the morning to do a business check.
Okay.
Is that something you guys do on a regular?
We've been doing that for 20 years. Some of the guys kind of slacked off on it a little bit. So at our staff meeting, I actually talked about that. So I'm glad that somebody.
Yeah, oh no, it was
put
nice.
that on the door.
It was lovely to see. So I just wanted to ask about that, if that was something new or something you've been doing.
Now,
Are those stops or patrols counted somewhere in your report?
so that would be a call for service if you were on vacation and requested that.
I did
Officers
not.
who didn't, yeah, they just stop by. Sometimes they'll do a call for service, sometimes they won't.
Okay.
Business checks, it just depends. If we're just walking by and sticking a card on the door, usually not.
Yeah.
We go around.
No, I
back.
checked my cameras. They actually walked around
Good.
and checked all the things. So
That's good.
thank you to them.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other comments, questions?
Do we know if the gentleman that got electrocuted was he?
As far as I know, well, he was alive when he left. Yeah. And so once he leaves our
Yeah. I
jurisdiction,
didn't know if he did.
yeah, now they usually what will happen if something happens inside our service and they survive and they end up down in Bear County, the medical examiner's office will call us and ask for a report, our copy of the report of what happened. That hasn't happened, so I'm assuming no news is good news.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. No news is good news when you're in my business.
Chief, I had, I'm sorry. Chief, I had asked last month about the stop downtown for the trucks going through 1863 or.
Correct. So I cannot mine that from our records management system. I actually go through all of those stops to try to do that. And that's a process. So give me a little bit of time and I'll get something, but I literally have to go through every single stop. I can't extract just those city ordinance violation stops that we do. So I'll get you something, just don't take me a little time.
I haven't needed a text on, so.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Hang up.
Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you.
All right, finance?
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
So, last Thursday, I gave you all the packet, the finance packet. Do you have any questions on the reviews or anything? Okay, so we are at about 96.8% through the month of July, in collecting our revenues. A lot of those, it's a lot higher than we anticipated, with an additional 513,000 in sales tax revenue, more than we thought, which includes the audit income that we received. Our permit revenue is up. Our ad valorem delinquent taxes are being collected, so that's really nice. I wasn't expecting that to the tune of almost 19,000. Expenditures are about 77.35% of our budget, and for the month of July, we just had our normal operational expenditures, with the exception of the final payment for the bridge project, as well as the repairs here in the council chambers when they had the flooding with the carpet and the drywall and the things that we had to do there. But other than that, everything is pretty much operational. Let's see, looking at sales tax, we've got about 1 more month for year end, and we're kind of on the trajectory of what's historically, so we're climbing up and going quick. Any questions?
Sharon, I had a question about on page 6 of your report. I noticed the wastewater treatment plant, 6,447,532. Could you just Tell me what that number represents.
What that number represents is the asset, the actual wastewater treatment plant itself, all of its equipment, all of, I can look it up right there, the fund balance.
So basically, it's an asset on our books. And
Yes.
that value, less any depreciation, et cetera, that's the net book value.
Correct.
Is that a depreciated value that's there?
Yes. Yeah, we do have about 300 and something thousand a year that's depreciated with the audit. The auditor does that on one of her annual. Is that it?
Thank you. That's
Oh, that was easy.
Good job on that.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Public Works?
Mayor, council, good evening.
Evening.
I'd like to give you a brief report of public works activities for the month of August. Our crews trimmed around vegetation. They're continuing removing vegetation around traffic signs. Currently, we're sitting probably about 18 to 19 traffic signs that we removed vegetation from out of a list of 49 areas that we identified. So we're continuing to do that. We're working on 281 Wiley Road, Blank Road, Yellow Oaks, improving the visibility and the safety around that area. Drainage wise, right away, we've regraded some of the bordage work around the Bulverde Community Park. We've had some, with this recent rains, we've regraded some of that bordage to allow that positive water flow. Behind police department, we did with all the brush cutting that we've done with all the site distance issues. We had a pile of brush back there, so we partnered with Waste Connections. They brought some dumpsters out, and we also rented skid steer. So we removed roughly over 20 tons of brush within this last 2 weeks ago that we removed from the back of the police department. But if you go back there right now, we started to collect more brush back there. So hats off to my guys for taking care of that. At the park, we continue routine maintenance at the park. And if you haven't been to the park, they're in the middle of putting up our playground set. Status on that, hopefully they'll complete the installation of the actual playground set by this Friday. There is one last step in the process, which would be the poured in place rubber floor, which will happen starting hopefully on Monday next week. So we're still about a week and a half out. Hopefully, if weather permitting, it'll be complete. We've had a lot of calls on it. People are very interested. Kids are excited about it. So we're just kind of waiting for that to happen. We officially closed the splash pad down September 2nd. We won't reopen the splash pad probably until maybe May of next year. And we'll also go ahead and keep the same schedules we had this year, just due to the water restrictions on there. Bandit signs, we're continuing our efforts to remove the bandit signs. We joined with the planning department. They came out on Monday. Mr. James Bass, his staff also assisted in removing bandit signs. The month of August, we removed about 100 bandit signs. My staff went out on Monday. I removed another 18 bandit signs. So we're continuing that effort to try to remove a lot of bandit signs. Additionally, I think one of the other steps that we did auction off the furniture at Noah's Ark, one of the storage units that we had. We received, I think we auctioned it off mid-August. We closed the account with Noah's Ark regarding that storage unit. And then as of this afternoon, we actually negotiated a lower price on the current unit that we have. Because we had 2 units, we were getting a discount on that. And since we went back to just 1 unit, they were going to go up to like $300 for the unit. So we negotiated that price down to keep it at $250. So we were able to negotiate that discount. So it's a little savings for the Public Works Department. That concludes my update. Oh, I did have one other thing. During our Parks and Board meeting, we did elect a new chair, Ms. Angie Craiglet. And also a new vice chair, Mr. Dominic Pettit. I also do want to applaud and give a standing applaud to past chairs. We're glad she's going forward. So, thank you for your service. And that will complete my update. Anybody have any questions?
I have a question. So all of these signs, do we have a map where all these signs are?
Yeah, we do.
So,
We have locations of where we brought the signs down, so, my staff is not, I guess, they don't spend time on the computer to put these on the map to have them locate, but we can definitely make an effort to try to map it out.
The bandit sign?
no, we're talking about the sign. No, I'm not talking about bandit signs. I'm talking about
okay.
regular signs.
Yes,
Road
yes.
signs.
Yes, we do, we do.
I'm gonna copy.
Absolutely, yes, we can get you there. First question. Great, thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. Planning?
Mayor and council, the chairman of the PNC is going to give an update on the planning and zoning meetings. I'm not going to touch on any of those items. We were contacted by the McCarty Ranch developer yesterday. They've indicated a desire to delay consideration of their item into October. So, we won't be dealing with that on the September 23rd meeting. So that item we also, as Karen indicated, we participated in a sign sweep in Singing Hills earlier this week. And most of our items are going to be, well, we've only got a couple items remaining, but they'll be on the 23rd meeting. You got any questions for me before we move on?
I don't. I do not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Parks and Rec. Hey, you're up.
I'm up. All right. Well, as you know, I'm chair and Dominic is vice chair, but what I want to do is turn it over to Rebecca because she's got a certification that she's worked really hard for, and I'd like her to come on up and talk about that. We came before you months ago and asked for your support for a monarch way station at the village community. The septic spray bill that I qualified with it already, so it's actually for us. So we were fun and we'd like to present these to you tonight. Please, we don't put this up at the display box at the, just so people know that, pollinators, they would need, they need extra love, and if you can leave, different plants in your yard instead of eradicating the milkweeds like that, so we can make a already butterfly happy, friendly place. This time is no time, and it's wonderful, but this needs to be put up at the particular spot. The Monarch Butterfly Garden has been named 2024, 2025, we've already Parks and Rec Advisory Board. That is what it's named after the hard work of our advisory board. There are several of the members here. Would y'all take a picture with us? Yes.
With all of us?
Well, are we?
I'll fucking bomb you from back here.
Yeah. You gotta play up and down. Not it.
We were unclear on the concept, I'm sorry.
Well, thank y'all so much for your support. Y'all said you go forward with this.
One, two, three, four.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so anything else? All right.
All right. Okay, planning and zoning?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, this is my first one, so I'm gonna do my best with what I think you guys want to hear. If you have any questions, please let me know, and we'll adjust as time goes on. So we had six of the members in attendance on last Tuesday. We had 4 items that we voted on that outside of our meeting minutes in general. The first item was a sign variance that was requested for the new development on 46 Bulverde Village. There was a motion to recommend denial, and that passed with a vote of 5-1. The next item was a cut and fill variance within Bell Oaks. That was voted as a recommendation of approval, and that passed 6-0. The next item was a special use permit for a guest house. That also was recommended approval, and it was voted 6-0 as well. And the last item was for the McCarty Ranch Land Development District. It was recommended denial, and that passed with a vote of 4-2. We did have 10 members of the community speak of public comment on that matter, and that's how it wrapped up. So do you guys have any questions? I know you're voting on these on the next meeting, so I will also be here in attendance that evening as well to help with any of that discussion. But if there's anything this evening that you guys have questions on, I'm more than happy to answer.
Thank you. That's great.
Thank you. Good job. Okay, moving on. Number 3, consent agenda items. All of the following items are considered to be routine by the city council. There will be no separate discussion on these items and will be enacted with one motion. Items may be removed by any council member by making such request prior to a motion and vote. So 3A, consider approval of the regular city council minute meetings from August 12th, 25. 3B, consider approval of the special city council meeting minutes from August 19th, 2025. 3C, consider approval of the joint city council and planning and zoning commission workshop minutes from August 19th, 2025. And 3D, consider approval to reschedule the regular city council meeting scheduled for November 11th to November 18th due to observance of Veterans Day federal holiday. So,
I didn't see any changes.
anything?
I read through them, I didn't see any, no omissions, everything matched up with my notes.
So do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the 4 consent agenda items as written. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
By the way, we'll have to go on. Yes, I forgot to announce that doing this too. Okay, regular agenda items. 4, public hearing on the proposed 2026 budget. You're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, once again, we are procedural in nature. We are required to provide for public hearings on the budget and on the tax rate. This will look shockingly similar to the presentation from last week. We have changed a few of the dates on here to protect the innocent. And it's unfortunate that the council member Kraywitz is not here tonight. He had made 2 requests for some changes. I'll get into those, and we made those. So we'll need to tell him that we changed the budget presentation in accordance with his desires. All of that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is a review of our general fund revenues for the proposed budget. And as I said last week, this egg graph, not a pie graph, this egg graph looks very similar to other cities in Texas. Typically what you will see is that your sales tax comprises 25% of your revenues, your property tax is closer to 50%. We're a little heavily skewed towards sales tax here in Bulverde, but again, not disproportionately so. I have seen other cities in Texas that have a whole lot of sales tax, and in my last city that I managed, they did not have ad valorem taxation, so it was all dependent upon sales tax. So we've got a good mix here, and I think we're in good shape. This rarely changes from year to year, and the only thing I would say about that sales tax, property tax ratio is that your property tax is steady through the years, that sales tax is a little more volatile. And so it's good to have that mix in both areas. So we're in a good place with regard to that particular graph. In terms of expenditures, Again, not unlike a lot of cities in Texas, we are heavily tilted towards public safety. A typical city in Texas, about 1/3 of the expenditures go toward public safety. And again, we don't have a fire department here, but that percentage is in line with other cities in Texas. Our proposed budget, we have some new expenditures, and this is where we get to one of the Councilmember Craywood's changes. I did not put, I omitted from the discussion last week the idea that we are doing market compatibility raises over in the police department to ensure that we remain competitive when it comes to our public safety salaries. So we want to highlight that here along with the rest of the increases that we have listed. Again, revenue increases off sales tax, $523,000, off property tax, $500,000. So keep that property tax number in mind. We'll return to it on a later agenda item. So something to keep in mind. Tax rate. This is the tax rate portion of the public hearing. Our current rate, 22.98 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. We have, for council's guidance, adopted the de minimis rate. So the proposed tax rate will be 25.97 per $100 of assessed valuation. I won't go through all of these numbers, but it's important for this slide, for the purpose of this slide, to recognize that your city tax dollars represent approximately 13% of your tax bill. So there are a lot of different entities who are in competition to get your tax dollars. And again, we're 13% of it, with the majority of it being the county and Comel ISD. Key dates, we have updated this to reflect that we conducted our first set of public hearings last week. We're now conducting that second set of public hearings, and we are moving to adoption tonight. We'll get into those items here in a little bit. And then the start of the fiscal year will be October 1, and it goes really quick. And before we know it, we will be back at it talking about budget for next year in FY27. It goes that quick. That's all I have in terms of the public hearing presentation. It is very short. But again, I think we hit the high points there. No major surprises, no major changes from staff. Different than what was presented during your 3 previous work sessions. And with that in mind, Mayor, I'll turn the floor back over to you.
Thank you. Comments? You all have any comments?
Question on that, I guess on that gravel yard, when was that?
Gravel,
Yeah, gravel way down the yard, that was like.
go back to that.
Was our public works,
I know we talked about it.
fenced area?
Yeah, and it was one thing, I mean, I supported it. I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah,
But I
it's
remember we had
budget.
some discussion about,
It was budget.
I remember we had a discussion about doing more of a regional approach to how we wanted to do that.
Yes, we're
downtown.
gonna do a
That was
study.
what
I think that was the recommendation, but that got voted down with I think there was some discussion about doing it as part of the capital improvement
Mhm.
review. But the decision was made in that council meeting to move ahead with this piece of it.
And I support this. We were trying
Yeah.
to figure out, we
Yeah.
didn't remember that.
Yeah.
It's not on the slide. It was on the slide last week. I had to make room for the 5% market compatibility.
Oh, it's
So
still
Yeah.
there. I'll look at it.
Where's the
Or storage yard, fence and gravel.
CIP is a separate line item in the budget.
It's covered.
Yeah.
The budget. I
Under what line item?
think it's under other, either that or professional services.
Saw it last week. See, here, just-
yeah, it's a new expenditure, so it'll be $40,000, I believe, with the figure.
50
50,000. Okay.
50.
for the, we're going for the capital improvement plan. On the
Oh, we're talking about CIP.
CIP.
Okay.
CIP.
We moved on
So
to gravel
the
yard.
CIP is on the chart where?
I've seen it out here, but I don't see it.
It's in professional services, I think is where they put it. It's in there with the engineering services, I think on page 50. Engineering services. It was 500,000, we bumped it to 500.
I think that's right.
550, and that was 50,000 for the CIP, I believe.
So page 50.
Page 50, that's what I remember, Jeff. It was
No,
500.
original, we moved it over to planning, general fund 100, department 60. No, it was a professional fee, right? Professional services, which is not, right? Yeah, sorry. Here we go.
Yeah.
We added it to the, the engineering services. Yeah, to 550, we moved it.
So we did both. We added we added money for the yard and we also added money for CIP.
Yes,
Yes.
How much money did we do for the yard?
40.
40, we put 40,000 for the yard and 50 for this, 50,000 for the CIP.
Love you. Yeah. Hey, I just couldn't remember the process. I think the last time we looked at it, it still says CIP, so when did it change? What revision?
Yeah, it's still in the, in version 2 of that we received, version 2 of the proposed budget. So it's still, we're still identified in that version in the CIP.
So this is the third revision?
This is the same document.
No,
without the
it's
notes
the same
attached.
one.
It is, okay.
Yeah, it's the same document, we took all the notes off.
It's in, still
So
in
nothing
contract.
changed on these.
It's in contract.
Okay. How many questions?
Okay. You have a question?
No, those are,
Francesca?
those are the numbers.
Sorry, Councilman Hayes.
Yeah.
Councilman. You good?
You good? You good? Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right,
Mayor, this is listed as a public hearing, so we will need to.
yes. So we'll open up, we don't have any public speakers signed up for this. However, is there anybody who would like to speak? Okay, so. Now it is, okay. So we open up for speaking at 7:07. There is nobody who'd like to speak. We'll close that at 7:07. All right, now, do I have a?
I make a motion that we approve the budget as presented.
I'll second that.
Certain language has to be used to.
It has to be a.
It has to be a-
Yeah, do a roll call.
You're asking certain language. The approval.
Motion
For the
though,
budget?
just for the vote, right? That's right. The roll call.
Councilmember Alexander, Mayor Hayes, Councilmember Watson,
A.
Councilmember Hawkins,
Hey,
Councilmember Goff, and Ray was absent.
Right.
I'm sorry, who was the
Um,
Seconded.
I say,
Yeah.
Okay, start with now. All right. Moving on to 4B. Discuss and consider an ordinance approving and adopting a budget for operating the municipal government of the city. Okay. Oh, no, yes, we are. Excuse me, 4C, discuss and consider a resolution ratifying the recently adopted budget that contains a property tax rate that raises more total property taxes than last year. Okay,
Thank you, Mayor. I'll go ahead and just give a quick introduction to this item. The city is required to ratify the proposed revenue increase in the proposed budget and make a few statements. The FY '26 budget will raise more property taxes than last year by $500,000. The proposed budget was adopted with item 4B, which we just went through. And item 4C does, I have it as requiring a record vote. Is that correct, Sandra?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so we can just do that on
It's just a resolution.
a local vote. Okay.
I make a motion that we
Approve a resolution ratifying the recently adopted budget that contains a property tax rate that raises more property taxes than last year. Second.
Just resolution, okay, so, all those in favor? Aye. Moving on, 4D, public hearing on the proposed 2025 tax rate.
Mayor, I've gone ahead and given the presentation on that. I incorporated that into the public hearing presentation earlier, so.
Any public comment? Opening that up at 7:10. No? Closing that at 7:11. Right, is this a roll call? Yes, yes, okay. So we'll need a motion and then a roll call. And the motion language is in the agenda.
This will require certain language.
Well, this one is 4D.
14.
Okay. Page 70, got it. 70?
Yep.
No, wait. I got 71 and I've got 67 to 71.
It's here.
Oh, I'm the
It's on the back.
Okay. All right, recommendation, adoption of the 2025 tax rate ordinance by council. Tax rate adoption motion. Motion to adopt a tax rate that exceeds the no new revenue rate must be made precisely as follows. I'll do it. I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.259798, which is effectively a 14.68% increase in the tax rate.
I second.
We need a roll call.
Aye. Councilmember Hayes. Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Mayor Hayes.
Aye.
Councilmember Watson.
Okay.
Councilmember Hawkins.
Aye.
Noting that Councilmember Scott and Kraylers are absent.
Or E, right? Incorporate 4E into there, okay. Discuss and consider an ordinance adopting the tax rate and levying a tax on all property subject to taxation within the city of Bulverde, Texas for the 2025 tax year for the use and support of the municipal government of the city of Bulverde.
I thought we.
That's all.
that's all.
I'm reading it because we didn't read that, so 4F. Just put it. An ordinance of the city council of the city of Bulverde, Texas, repealing and replacing the code of ethics ordinance number 120-03-05-13 with a code of ethics to define applicability and definitions as required by the home rule charter, repealing all ordinance or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance, adopting a severability clause and establishing an effective date.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a rewrite of section 103 of our federal ordinance. As council has previously reviewed the proposed ordinance changes, and council directed staff to place the item on the agenda for consideration this evening. The proposed changes have been made available to the public with the publication of the agenda package. I have no further comment at this time, Mayor.
Public comments on that item?
You guys want any changes?
I make a motion that we adopt the ordinance as presented. That's sufficient?
I'll second it.
This is an ordinance, so we don't have to do anything different on it. No. All right, so, we'll take a vote, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Or G, discuss and consider approval of an ordinance of the city council designating the dates and times of the regular meeting dates of the city council.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 4G, establishing meeting dates for city council. Staff is seeking guidance relating to a second meeting date per month. We have many deadlines associated with planning and zoning items, and these have relatively long lead times. And so we are needing to establish a measure of certainty regarding our meeting dates and our times. Specifically, does City Council wish to permanently move to 2 meetings per month? Please note in your package, we included the dates, what they would be for the balance of the year, and a lot of these dates fall during holiday weeks, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I think that's an artifact of this time of the year. I don't think it would be this heavily tilted towards holidays if we were in the spring or if we were in the summer necessarily. But I just want to make you all aware of that. And if we do move to 2 meetings, the thought was to have the planning and zoning meeting to be that second meeting. It gets really difficult to schedule those out. And as I said, there are publication deadlines and deadlines with developers. So we're just trying to get some clarification and some certainty around those dates. And I'll step back now and let you all discuss the merits of a second meeting.
Okay, so, I'm gonna, go ahead. Do you have a?
I like the second meeting. I think it helps. I understand their concern with scheduling. I think it's going to be particularly difficult with these next 3 meetings because we may very well have quorum issues. I know I won't be around for at least 1, possibly 2 of them. That's all.
Yeah, I have some concerns just that scheduling for getting a quorum and having people out here and there. But I do see the value in sometimes switching the meetings up. They can be quite extensive. So I don't know if that's on a case by case basis, which would maybe just require a special session or a special meeting versus a continuous mindset of every month we meet twice a month. So, but I do see where we could end up being here till late hours if needed with these meetings at times, right? So, but I know I have my other concern as far as being able to have a quorum and having people out in this industry. It's could be a little cumbersome sometimes on the life of people. So that's just my 2 cents on that for now.
Councilman Hawkins?
4th Tuesdays work fine for me. I have a standing meeting on the 3rd Monday and the 3rd Tuesday of every month. So trying to do a 3rd Tuesday is kind of difficult for me because I have to choose which missing meeting to miss. But to Clint's point, yeah, that's going to be a little difficult, although I don't have any specific plans. I think I can be here for these meetings.
I think having a second meeting option every month is important. I don't think we're not at our best at 11 o'clock at night when we're discussing complicated things. And I think staff absolutely has a right to some predictability. That said, the fact that 2 of these meetings fall during a holiday week, I think places an additional burden on staff that I'd be eager to avoid if we can do that. And so I'm not personally in favor of a permanent second meeting every month. I don't know that we should designate these as regular meetings. Can I ask a question? Sure. How much advance notice would be reasonable in your view for these?
Well, I had 2 thoughts on that that just occurred to me while I was sitting there. One item was that we were going to move planning items to the second meeting. We could keep planning items on the first meeting to give us but generally it's 3 weeks for any kind of zoning item. And so if y'all were going to do something about having 2 meetings, regular or special, if we kept the planning items on the first one, then we could just stay in our current.
In your current cadence?
Cadence, yes. And other items could be potentially moved to that second meeting. But yeah, generally speaking, when, for instance, like McCarty Ranch item, we got that application at the beginning of July and had to begin noticing for it.
Sure.
Sending out, there's a 15 days before notice, and then letters have to go out 10 days before. And the applicant wants to know, especially if they're not local, when they need to make arrangements to be here. So 3 weeks is generally as narrow. And also we're hampered by the publishing schedule of the Herald by Time.
Understood. So I'm just wondering if it makes sense, perhaps, I'll just use this month as an example, if we take an opportunity at our regular council meeting to look ahead to the following month, does it look based on what planning has on its plate, like we need to have a second meeting in October and set a date at that time? I don't know if maybe that makes it more complicated.
Well,
I'm just concerned.
Sometimes developers will contact us 4 to 6 months in advance and say, we want to land, what's the available meetings? We'll start working on our side to have our stuff submitted outside of our regulatory process. They've got work to do.
Sure.
To land, and they may expect 4 or 5 months in advance to be at the November regular meeting or something like that. And so not being able to have that complicates it a little bit.
So maybe in that scenario, the solution is to make our regular meeting the planning meeting as you suggested, and if there's a lot on the plate, to have a second meeting that month for things that don't
Consider
require.
if there's other things that are not time sensitive.
Sure.
Possibly.
I don't know, just some
Sure.
thoughts.
Okay, so my thought on this has been, we talked about we want our community to be able to participate, right? How many time meetings have we had that we watched everybody leave at 9 o'clock and we're getting done at 12 o'clock, midnight, and the people who want to speak aren't being able to speak. And, you know, it is our duty to let our public be part of our process, correct? And so this was the idea of having that second meeting, and obviously for a concern on the staff, you know, driving at midnight home in rut season, we all know how that goes. And keeping them here until, you know, midnight when we have employees who live far away. That was the issue of having that. Also being able to have time to be able to look at some of the items that are coming out of planning and zoning, and giving us enough time to look and be able to make a concerted decision on what we have to make and be prepared for our meeting the following week. This was a thought process on the second meeting. I totally understand that October, November, December, it does fall on those days, but we do have the opportunity to move those days up if we need to, and have one maybe second, and you know, it doesn't need to be on a Tuesday, it could be on a Thursday if we have to add it and change it around for the following week. But I do think that we owe it to our community and to our public for them to be able to attend and to be able to publicly speak at our meeting and not have to wait until 11 o'clock at night to do so. So that's my thought.
Fair enough. I'll be here for the other meetings. Just want to be on a
And
road.
I think that on our quorum, we're pretty good. Our city secretary is very good at checking to make sure if we have a quorum, we can move, you know, if we have to, especially on these days, because we know the 28th isn't going to work for us. That, you know, I don't know if there'll be a quorum on the 28th. We may need to move it to the 27th, or you know, if we need to move it to the week before so that it works for everybody. But I think that talking that we can get those dates and also help, and especially we know it's coming in October. That will be a very long meeting. It'll be into the late night, but I think that the public is going to want to speak at that meeting, and we owe it to our community and our constituents to be able to have that opportunity.
What are your thoughts on, as Dan suggested, keeping the planning and zoning to the first one and moving up?
I'm okay with that. If y'all feel like y'all can be prepared from planning and zoning, and you feel like you have enough time to answer all your questions.
So let me
And
be the
everything
devil's
is-
advocate on that.
Let me finish. If we can get everything that we need to have that done, then by all means, you know, then we agree on it. If not, we move it to the second. But that's something that we need to decide on, taking in mind our constituents and the public.
Devil's advocate. Who's going to decide what gets put on the second agenda for the month? Is that a city manager call? Is that a mayor call? Is that, I mean, how do we make that determination?
So you and I are the mayor and the city manager who decided what goes on agenda or by vote as our charter state.
We're
So
starting to make
if
this
we're
real
starting, if we're going to, excuse me, if we are going to have 2 meetings, then we do planning and zoning in one, and the other items in the second agenda. Or in the second meeting, excuse me.
A lot of these proclamations though should be in the first meeting in
They
July.
do need to be in the first meeting.
They need to be there because many of them are dedicated for
To that level.
Yeah.
Well, if we add proclamation, we do monthly reports because it's the report of the month, and then we do the planning and zoning, there's not much left. That's right.
Agreed.
That's right.
It's 11:30.
It is.
It is.
It is.
So, Danny, is it a big burden to move it to the second?
No, if the council commits, and we know, we are certain that meeting is going to happen, then no. It's just, we just rejected the payments and now we're going on the second.
Yeah.
So,
You just don't need a moving cart.
okay, so if we, I mean, just because it's October, November, and December, obviously, every city's probably moved their meetings around to be able to accommodate their second meeting. Can we just change the dates for the second meeting for the next 3 months? So that you're not in that holiday weekend? Yes?
Are we saying that we want to do this as a permanent, regular change, or are we saying?
I think we need to do it as a permanent, regular change to be able, we're not a little, our agendas are super long and they're getting longer and they're going to continue to get longer. So for the unforeseeable future, yes.
I agree. I just have an issue with fourth. Fourth Tuesdays are good. Third Tuesdays is just bad for me. I'd be much more in favor of a third Thursday as opposed to a third Tuesday.
We were talking second.
We're talking second and fourth.
Yeah, but in the event, particularly like these dates that don't work because we're close to the Christmas
Exactly,
holiday.
but we can move that to the Thursday, the
We can move
23rd.
those to,
Yes,
yeah, to Thursday. That would work
Absolutely.
perfect for me.
absolutely. We have to move it because it can't, we won't have a quorum on the 28th for TML. So there's no way we would be able to do it on the 28th. We'd have to move it back. And we can, I mean, it's not even a problem just to move it to Monday, the 27th. Yes,
I would also keep in mind the new deadlines for posting.
yes,
things that are adopted. So
absolutely.
Thursdays are also good because it gives the staff a chance to
Time to
prepare
post.
72 3 business days in advance.
So when you say the 28th, you're talking about October 28th, sorry.
October 28th, yes, but
We're saying that that's okay or not okay?
it's not gonna be okay. We won't have a quorum,
Oh, right.
So we'd have to either make that one Monday, 27th. But that pushes them to have
I see.
to post Wednesday, the 22nd,
We could do the 23rd.
No, they'd have to do Tuesday, the 21st.
or we can do the 23rd.
Yeah.
We can move it back a full week to Thursday, the 23rd. Okay. So we just need to come up with the dates for the second meeting. That we'll do. Or how is that gonna work?
I'm sorry, so what we're saying is we're gonna do a regular second meeting every month going forward for the fourth Tuesday, except that for October, November, and December, we're gonna come up with alternate dates because these dates are complicated because of the
To the
holidays. Okay,
That's what I'm hearing.
okay. So do we wanna set those dates now? Does everybody have a calendar, or do we wanna do that in some other way?
What is, I'm okay with setting,
I'm okay with setting them.
No, that's fine.
okay, so,
23rd?
I won't be physical form for the last two, if they're these dates, but any
Right.
other
No,
day,
we're
not
gonna
those weeks.
I think we're gonna move all of them, is what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah.
okay, yes.
Okay.
So for October, Danny, and type in with us if that's gonna be a big meeting, and we wanna make sure that we're okay with you. Thursday, the 23rd, or Monday, the 27th? Oh, can we do a Monday?
Pretty problematic. I think the Thursday.
Thursday's a better?
I think so.
Let's do Thursday, the 23rd. For October.
Okay.
Okay, and then in November, we moved our meeting to the 18th. So that really doesn't,
I was gonna suggest the 13th as an alternative day. And I realize we've already voted on this thing, so I don't know how we undo that. We just, so I don't know if the 13th, if we do two meetings, if we do the 13th and the 18th, does that work, or the 13th and the 20th?
If we're already moving it, I mean, and we're already changing those dates, it's gonna be real close. Can we just do Thursday? I would just do.
Just do one? Is there, what's coming down the pike for November? Does it look like that would be, to just stick to one meeting for November?
I won't know, all this stuff materializes right around the deadline. There's probably 8 or 10 projects floating out there that haven't actually filed.
So we probably need to.
I don't know. I mean,
What's your crystal ball, Danny?
That's gonna be here whenever you all decide. November's a tough month. It's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
The 11th, it's in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
And so,
And then we have Thanksgiving.
then we have Thanksgiving, so if you want to meet Thursday and then Tuesday again, Joel, that's pretty close in time.
Yeah. Doesn't give staff much time to do.
Because we'll have they want to move to the 18th. You wanted to move to the 13th?
I'm saying our second, one possible option for a second meeting date would be the 13th. But that predates the,
Could we do 13 and 25? Thursday and Tuesday?
the 25th that's Thanksgiving week, and I think people are traveling that week.
You're correct. Boy, we're good at planning, aren't we?
Could we do the 13th and the 18th and figure out the agendas?
I might not be able to do the 18th. I can do the 13th.
Oh, come on, you can do that. The next day's my birthday.
I told you, I have conflicting meetings that I have.
I understand. Okay, let's shoot for the 13th and 18th right now for November.
13th and 18th. Does that give them time to do
Does it?
anything? I mean,
PNC is, what's the first Tuesday?
Or
So we'll have plenty of time.
You'll have plenty of time. Or the 18th.
18th hours, yeah. I mean, right now, we can turn them around next morning, so anytime more than 4 hours. Plus for us.
13th and 18th,
4 hours notice. That's right.
okay?
So
And then for December, would we have to be like,
The 16th
The
or the
9th.
18th?
the 9th is the first one, so do we want to do the 18th?
It's okay with me.
9th and 18th? Okay. And then in January, go back to
We'll do the regular.
the red. Okay. Oh, all right.
I did have a question coming back to November. We've got 13th and the 18th.
Yes,
The 13th will be our regular first meeting of the month, and the 18th will be the
PNC.
P&Z meeting. Okay.
I mean, as long as that works first, yes.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
4 hours notice. Hey. Chop, 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 chop.
And then starting in January, it will be the second and fourth
Second and
Thursdays. That's Tuesdays going forward.
So I think the motion would be to approve the second meeting of the month with the exceptions as discussed.
Okay. What about Red Shepherd?
I make a motion that we adopt the ordinance to add a second regular meeting to the fourth Tuesday of the month, with the exception of the months of October, November, and December as discussed.
Well, I'll mention, this ordinance doesn't get amended every year. It's generally we wouldn't include those specials
Right.
in this ordinance. This ordinance sets the regulars, and then,
So would we need to do a separate?
the mayor can call those 3 special.
No.
Okay.
Okay, these 3 different ones that we gotta change.
I mean, we don't have to cancel them formally, but, just like we did, move and cancel.
Okay.
But
For the
it would
3.
be from agenda item.
I don't even know that it needs to be an agenda item. I'll defer to Sandra if we need to have it as an
We
agenda item.
cancel, like Danny said, the fourth meeting for October, November, December, and then call it a special meeting for those dates.
Oh, okay.
Understood. Okay.
Understand. Okay, so we just need a motion to adopt,
So I amend my motion. I move that we approve the ordinance of the city council designating dates and times of the regular meeting dates of the city council as presented.
second and fourth.
Second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
All, when did you do that? Did I have any other comments on that? Right, open public at 7:35. Close that, and make comments at 7:35. All right, okay, we'll take it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Four H, discuss and consider approval of an audit engagement letter with Armstrong Bond and Associates, PC, for the city, the annual audit fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025, and authorization of the city management to sign engagement letter.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the city's annual financial audit. And this is the audit that will report on fiscal year 25 that we will be completing fairly soon. The fee for these services has increased $500, or roughly 3.5% over last year's fees. The state of Texas has introduced a new wrinkle into the auditing landscape. A Senate bill recently passed, Senate Bill 1851, requires cities to complete and file their financial audit by March 31 for the previous year. So the penalty for non-compliance with this is to limit the violating city's tax rate for the following year to the no new revenue rate. So if we
So we
fail,
need to get it done.
Yes, we have to.
so I don't know what next year's no new revenue rate will be. We don't have those figures yet in terms of fiscal year 26, 27, but this year it would have resulted in $500,000 less revenue. So we cannot be late with our audit at all, ever.
How soon can we start?
Very soon.
I have one question. Should a single audit be required, additional fees of $3,800 are in here? Can you tell me how that?
The Single Audit Act has to do with, and I'll look for the, either Danny or the attorney to buttress the statement, but the Single Audit Act refers to if we're using federal dollars above a certain threshold amount. For example, for the ARPA dollars, if we were spending ARPA dollars, and I understand we're done with those, but if we were spending ARPA dollars, we would have to have a single audit. I'm not aware that in the next fiscal year we will have any federal dollars.
We will, but they the city said
Okay,
$2,000.
so we will not have to do a single audit. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. I didn't know it was up to $1 million.
So,
That's all I have.
okay, other than the 14 days, we should, that's about where we're gonna be, right?
I think if I can get on the auditor schedule, I'm gonna try to do it maybe like the first or second week of January. To start her doing her digging and her audit work, because I should have all the information in the software by the middle to the end of December, allowed for the holidays. And then we had originally planned to do it the first week of February because I was gonna be out of town, but that's changed. So now I'm gonna, if it's fits with her schedule, I'm gonna try to push it up to the beginning of January, so she has everything finished and done by February for us to review, and then she can present it to y'all at the council meeting in March.
Any questions?
I am not happy with the auditing firm. There has been years and years of things that went on under our nose that council didn't know about until years later. Why are we sticking with the same auditing firm? That's a problem.
Is this a professional service that we're required to put out for bid?
Yes. I would answer this in terms of the auditing firm themselves. I do have a background with this firm. Granted, it's in the past, but the nature of the firm, they do financial audits. Their main question is, do the financial reports of the city accurately reflect the reality of what's in your accounts, what's in your balances? So they're doing a financial audit of the city. That's it. They're not doing a forensic audit. They're not doing an operational audit. So I don't know the nature of the complaints in the past. If the complaints in the past were about executive decisions that were made, if the complaints were about how the money was spent and where the money was spent, that's not the role of your financial auditor to question that. The role of your financial auditor is to make sure that those were all recorded properly. I mean, you can make a bad decision. They're concerned about whether that report was proper, whether it was documented, whether you could find it. That's what your financial auditor is doing for you. This is for financial services, not to question, again, whether
It's not a
executive
procedural
leadership
audit.
was
It's not a
doing the
forensic
right
audit.
thing.
It's not a procedural audit.
Correct.
Operational audit.
So if there are complaints about the veracity or the accuracy of the financial reports, then that's germane to this agenda item. If there are complaints about the prioritization or the decision-making that went into that, that is not the role of the auditor. And it's unfortunate that they're not here tonight to be able to say that. They could say it a lot better than I could. And please, Mr. City Attorney, if you have any insight into this, please let me know. But I've done now 30 plus audits, and this is a fairly common thought process that the auditor didn't tell us from an operational context what was going on. To be fair and to be frank, it's not their job. It simply isn't their job. Now, again, if there's a concern about the accuracy of the statements, your financial reporting, that is germane to this agenda item, and that is germane to what your auditor does.
We've had statements from our finance that she was working off numbers and trying to work out everything a year later. How does that come into play with this? How could the numbers have even been able to be known if you didn't know those numbers because, you came into a mess? I don't see how she could, maybe I'm just not understanding, but if those numbers weren't reconciled in there, how could she even know to be able to audit what was there?
So she didn't do fiscal year 23 until September of last year, and then she did fiscal year 24 in January of this year.
Okay.
So we didn't even start the audit until everything had been accounted for, reconciled, and
Okay.
balanced.
Okay.
So, and she went through every single transaction. She has access to the finance software, and they pulled the general ledger detail, and they went through every single transaction, make sure everything balanced.
Yes.
So our audits were late the
Yes.
last 2 years?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily the fault of your auditor.
No.
That has
Sure.
a lot to do with
The state of the records, sure.
Yeah, as I understand it, when the previous city manager came in, he had terminated several of the staff, and it took quite a while to get staff in place. And bills were being paid, checks were being written, the statements were being set down, and nothing was being put in the system. They had also transitioned from one software to a new software. And I can't even explain to you the disaster, because the books hadn't been reconciled since December 2022. So when they pulled everything over into the new software posted the behind the scenes consolidated transactions, that ins and outs, debits and credits to make entries balance. They put those entries in the actual active general ledger in the consolidated account to reconcile, and they shouldn't have been. So we had to go in and transaction by transaction, get rid of things and clean up things, and it took quite a while to do it.
I have a question. Do all our invoices come to you?
No.
Where do they go?
Some come here and some go to the police department.
Does the police department have an accounting department?
No. I know that this Debbie, I'm not Debbie, Debbie, does she do some accounting?
Yeah, so if there's an invoice that is related to the PD that needs to be paid to finance, I have to sign off on it. Or before it.
But they should still come to the accounting department.
She gets all of the bills as well too. She's on all of those invoices, so they go to her and us. I have to prove it.
Why do not all the invoices come straight to account?
They do.
They have the police department's address on
But she is PC'd on everything. So everything that, when Sharon came on board, she sent emails out to everybody that said invoices that go to the PD also need to come to account payable. That's exactly what happened. So there might be some that are an address to PD, but they all end up in her office on her desk with a coding on it from the department head. Regardless if it's PD, Eric, from Public Works, or Danny, we all write on each invoice what line item should be charged to.
it. So I guess my question is, why are they not all coming to one address?
I don't know that.
No, I could answer that. It would be common if it's a police-specific matter or a police-specific item, where the chief is gonna have knowledge of that. He's gonna know whether it's been spent, whether it has not been spent. And so he'll get the first crack at it, he'll see it, he'll sign off on it, and then it makes its way over. And you're telling me that invoice is also copied to electronically to your department, so you have it. Right.
It's a paper PDF or an hard copy.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question? We do not have a purchase order system.
We do not at this point, no.
So from a process standpoint, and maybe we're getting in the weeds, so stop me if we're getting in the weeds, but from a process standpoint, it would seem to me that all invoices should go to accounts payable. Accounts payable should distribute those to the department heads for review. That way there's some checks and balances within the system. We've received this invoice, the vendor can be assured that we have received this invoice. Things happen, right? This is not throwing stones. But then she's got somewhere, accounts payable has some way of tracking those. I have it, department head, you tell me how to build this, and then it comes back for payment.
Processing. So, on the accounts payable email, I have myself, Mr. Castro, and we had the admin, but I think, Sandra has access to that email now. So there's 3 sets of eyes on it so that it's not missed. And everybody has, eyes on to see what's happening.
That's electronic invoices though, right? I'm talking about paper invoices.
Yeah.
Right.
The paper ones, if I get them here, I scan them to the, and put them in the system and send them out to the directors for review and approval. If it's a hard copy that like, oil changes needs that the police officers do on their routine or whatever, their daily stuff, then they'll bring them over to me. I think you guys scan them in, don't we keep a soft copy of, or at least a hard.
We keep copies of all the invoices too, and I'm not trying to disregard what you're saying. The problem is Sharon doesn't always know what department that should go. There's been several times it's where, is this your invoice or is this your invoice? Invoices that come from the PD all get routed to her at some point, even if they hit PD first, but most of them are wrong. That's where the majority of them come in. There are some that come to the PD, but even though sometimes they come into PD as a hard copy, they even get sent over as electronic copies as well too, from the vendor.
So it sounds to me like there's room for a conversation at some point about a process review. But for the purposes of the audit, I think what we're saying is your concerns, Clint, maybe would not have necessarily have been
I
turned
guess
out
so, maybe
as part of that.
And when Sharon explained that, the timeline of when those were actually done, it made more sense. I remember you saying, man, I'm working on these back, but that makes sense.
Yeah, it took a while to get it all cleaned up, and I had to reverse a bunch and bring in a bunch. But once we got to fiscal year 23 complete, I had already almost finished fiscal year 24, so we were ready to just, it was just timing basically for the auditor's calendar when she could get in and get 24 done. But yeah, I wanted to make sure everything reconciled with the bank and tied before she jumped in there.
What was the state's deadline again?
March 31.
March 31. And we wouldn't get started until February, you said?
Well, I'm gonna ask her to move it up to the first or second week of January, and then she will present it, finished audit. Sorry?
Field work.
She'll do the field work, and then she will present us with a copy. We'll read Mr. Castro and I'll review it,
And then if we have any questions, concerns, we'll talk to her about it and then have her come and present to you all on, March.
Based on your experience,
No, they'll probably do the field work in the latter part of December, early January. They take about 2 weeks before they come out on site. They do, at their office, they do a bunch of work and then they come here for about 4 or 5 days on site and they literally climb through every single invoice that they have questions on and access all the data and then reach out to us for questions and concerns and ask for backup and supporting documents.
based on your experience, how comfortable are you that they can meet this deadline with some room to spare?
I'm 100% confident.
This is hardball.
Yep. So if this is approved tonight, I'll reach out to them tomorrow to see if I can get on there as soon as as quickly as possible.
You can't afford to miss this schedule.
No, I don't want to miss the deadline.
We don't.
Historically, if you go back and look at your council meetings, the audit always reported to council it was done, usually in February. So if we would give our annual report in February, we always present it with the audit, the same audit. So normally, historically, it's always been done,
Except for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
there just wasn't staff here to do it.
and that was that.
Councilman Watson?
I have a concern also about the timeline. I think January is too late to start this, so I'll put my 2 cents in on that.
Well-
My personal preference would be to see if field work started much earlier than that.
The problem is I don't get a lot of the sales tax, the franchise payments, the hot tax, things like that in.
Understood, but the first part, they could get started on the first part of the, in any event, the nuts and, I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts of it. An observation is that it makes me a little itchy to wait until January if we have a hard stop on March 31st. God forbid they come up with something ugly and hairy that doesn't give us a whole lot of time to address it. Second question was if we are obligated to put this out for bid, did we do that? Or did I misunderstand the answer, the disengagement letter back to the,
No, we
Subject
have not
again.
put this up for bid.
are we obligated to? Are we required to?
You may answer that. It depends on the amount.
Okay,
What's the total amount?
14.8.
14,000. So it can be budgeted, it can be looked at as a project item that you're doing for fiscal year. I was looking at the purchasing provisions of the charter, and it doesn't say whether or not it has to be done on a fiscal year basis or total amount. So when it's purchasing, you can look at either the total amount, this could be a component or sequential purchase, and then that amount that you've spent with that particular vendor adds up to the threshold, then you should bid it out.
This is a letter of engagement for 1 year.
right.
And it's
So it's under
14,300 or 14,800, which is well within my signature authority.
And then the amounts, the competitive bidding threshold did just go up to 100,000, so.
Okay, so we're within the, that was my question. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I do have concerns with this auditor too, because I'm confused now anymore, so with some of the conversation, but, because it sounded like it did get a little detailed, but from what you explained, it doesn't get too detailed, so, I do have some concerns on that. I guess my opinion, I think we should RFQ it, and then in the RFQ include a deadline to see if they can meet our deadline.
They will not meet your deadline. Whoever applies to this will not be able to meet the March 31st deadline.
Only one company will be able to do it, so what are you
I
telling
don't know, I'm just saying, if you put it out for an RFP, I think you guys are on edge about this idea of meeting that March 31 deadline. Are you suggesting that we put this current year, the one we have right in front of us, out for a proposal, then take proposals, and then attempt to bring somebody on board and meet that March 31 deadline?
That's what I would think.
That is not possible.
It's not possible.
It is not
It's
possible.
not, it might make sense to stick with somebody who's familiar with
Yeah,
we are.
I think we run a much greater risk of missing the deadline if we bring in somebody new.
As much as I'm not happy with this.
And then-
I think there is some stuff in there that they should have caught. Now, I know maybe it's not.
You may be right.
I think maybe we stick with this for this year because of this deadline, and we get that RFQ up for next year as soon as.
Or
We still have the opportunity to do a separate audit.
Yes,
we have the opportunity
Yes,
to
we
do
do.
we have an opportunity to do an operational audit, which
Yes,
is
we
a
do.
separate animal, so.
This is just checking.
Okay.
boxes.
Yeah.
So this is just, let's get this done.
Can you send us a I guess, a summary of the firm and what they, who's doing this audit, what they do, their kind of their qualification. I know they're auditing, but I'm curious to know a little bit of the background.
It should be at the back.
Yeah, their letter here says, but we're just talking about the person who is actually going to
Yeah.
do the audit.
Should be the same one that's done it.
So yes, so once you approve it, I can tell you who the actual auditor is.
Yes.
Who they assign it to, which partner.
Yes, please. Okay. That answer your question? I mean,
Yeah, I'd like to know who they are, know their background.
Okay.
And what city they're working with right now.
all right, so.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve an audit engagement letter with Armstrong Bond Associates PC for the city's annual audit for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2025, and authorization of the city management to sign engagement.
I have a comment. So at what point do we put an RFQ up?
I would back up about 6 months and look to have an RFQ out 6 months into the year.
That would be about March.
That would be.
Or
like March
sooner.
31.
Or sooner.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when we appoint, or when we approve this, we need an
We need an
RFQ
RFQ to go with.
That's right.
So can we amend that motion, right? That.
I don't know if we need,
No, I don't.
I don't think we need one for that, do we? But
Just need to make sure.
just make sure the city puts it,
That can be part of our direction to
Yeah,
the city
but-
manager.
yeah.
Yeah. So I second on that.
because we don't want to miss this.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
are there any public comments on that before we vote? Done? 7:57, open and closed. Okay, all right, we'll take that for a vote. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay. None opposed? All right.
it's an expensive this.
4I, discuss and consider authorizing the city manager to seek applications from qualified vendors for the performance of depository services from one or more banks, credit unions, or savings associations.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 4I is authorizing the city manager to seek applications for depository services. That's our bank. The city's agreement with its current depository has expired, and that was not a recent expiration either. I wish to seek proposals for this service. This requires city council authorization. I anticipate 4 to 6 months to complete the RFP process. I just took the city of Yukon through a similar process and will borrow heavily from that. But that's what this is for.
Do we need to take any action tonight to extend the depository service agreement temporarily, or does it continue just until?
It continues. I did ask the attorney that question, and originally I thought I might be coming to you asking for an extension. The attorney said as long as we're going out for this RFP, and I won't want to put words in your mouth, but essentially said, go out for the RFP.
The statute requires you to submit the application. He has to come and have an application for depository contract. So that's the process we're going.
Do you need a?
Can I ask you a question? So, because the original, which is the original here. We don't have the original one in here, correct? Our current one?
This is the current one that's in here now.
The first United one? Okay, that's what I was making sure, right? So is that date a problem on there, or does it continue? On page 95.
Currently, was it automatically renewed the contract? was terminated.
I did not read anything in there about automatic.
So essentially, we've been operating without a contract.
Yes.
I would authorize the city manager to execute any documents until new contract.
Yeah, that's smart.
We're at risk.
Okay, so what do we need to do here?
We just need to give him the authorization.
But he's also saying that he recommends that we authorize him to execute any other documents to cover.
Yeah, an interim
This interim.
contract until the completion of the RFP.
Okay, so how do we make this
Make a motion.
motion to, do we need some legal wording on that?
Sure, I mean, motion to authorize city manager to execute necessary contract documents or any documentation to continue your depository contract with the current vendor, but you also need to authorize them to seek applications for qualified.
Okay, I can make that motion.
Yep.
I move that we authorize the city manager to seek applications from qualified vendors for the performance of depository services from one or more banks, credit unions, or savings associations, and authorize the city manager to execute any interim contracts or other documentation required to extend our lapsed agreement with First United Bank until those applications are received.
I'll second that.
Right, do we have any comments on that? No? Is that 801? Or is it 802? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, public comments not related to any of our posted agenda items. I have Mr. Dwayne Reeves, is that correct?
Mayor, council members, I'm Dwayne Reeves. I live in Centennial Ridge, 776 Russell Way. And I filed a complaint at the beginning of the month, specific to Texas Water's water main that's going along Lamont Road and across the end of my property. So what I'm here for is really to kind of ask questions about, not specifically Texas Water, because I'm dealing with them separate, but specific to the complaint that I filed. So specifically, I filed a complaint, merited return receipt requested. I also emailed the planning, the email is planning at bulverdtx.gov. Never heard a response. Yesterday, I came in, I finally got some action where the planning commission or the planning team basically told me, hey, that's not a city problem, that is a civil problem that you're asking. Part is, I never got a response for my complaint, so I'd like to find out sort of why I never got a response. Second, specific to the construction, I never got a notification. So what is the city's responsibility to ensure that residents, when utilities are going to go in the property, are notified? And because the city is the issuing agency of the permit, what role does the city have to ensure that they're actually doing what they're supposed to do and do inspections, etc.? Because the company actually went outside of my easement, took some trees out, and so again, working with them. And then finally, talking to the HOA president, they were notified that the pipeline was gonna go under the road, but they weren't notified of, you know, the scope and scale of the project. So what role does the city have to notify the HOA that their residents are gonna be impacted? That way there's another form of communication, within, you know, within interrupting, citizens' lives, that, yeah, the HOA can inform us as well, hey, this is happening. So, that's really it. I may come back later to ask for your assistance for, you know, if I do have trouble with, Texas Water and the other issues, but I'm sure that on time as far as file the complaint, you know, about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. So, anyway. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. So, that we do have an upcoming event on the 22nd of September. Actually, the Texas Water Company will have a presentation to the city of Bulverde at the Hampton Inn, 6 p.m. We do have music in the park this weekend, this Saturday. And we also do have National Night Out, which is on October the 7th coming up. Anybody else have anything else they would like to add? Okay, so we're going to close the meeting for executive session at 8:06 p.m. Let's do it. We never know who the crowd is large. They get so warm. I bring around. Here you go.
Nobody's talking about water.
Yes.
Stand up here and get a picture. He asked me to take a picture of the topic. So she needed help.
Should I have my mouth open?
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready.
Thank you.
Calendar year.
Yeah. And then what's the final? Put it on.
So we'll call the meeting back to order at 10:03 p.m. And, we have, no actions on items to be discussed from executive session. Yep, all right, anybody? So we can adjourn this meeting tonight at 10:03.